Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And Survival Hunter has been getting a ton of attention when it comes to the Midnight Alpha. It was one of the most stripped down to the bare bones specializations that I've seen out of all of them, aside from maybe Fire Mage. But it recently received kind of a tune-up and a readjustment in terms of direction. They've returned some core mechanics like tip the spear to the class, but they are still really leaning heavily into this kind of grenade shotgun kind of fantasy and play style, and they're not bringing back Fury of the Eagle. They're keeping the boomstick, but they've lowered its cooldown, so it's down to 30 seconds. It's going to be doing just a big barrage of cannonballs towards their targets. They've improved a lot of their baseline hero talents, things like shell cover now just increase the damage mitigation of Survival of the Fittest even further beyond, rather than kind of this kind of meaningless damage reduction proc that you'd get at low health. It just makes your main cooldowns that much more sustainable. I'm going to be testing out Binding Shot now as it tethers targets together, and I believe it's got like a different type of AoE mechanic. I'm curious to see if it still has it as I'm going to be doing this playthrough of this dungeon. Their Apex talents, though, they focus around Raptor Strike and making it AoE, which is really important when it comes to Mythic Plus. But also, I think in PvP, this is going to be nice because it's just amplifying Raptor Strike even further in terms of its overall damage. So it's going to allow you to build up a big ramp. So it's a benefit in both PvE and a benefit in PvP as well at the same time. If you want to play towards kind of the grenade style of play, you can go down the left tree with the Flame Fang pitch. The right side focuses more around Tip the Spear and getting big combos off with your Tip the Spear, basically, whether you want to go left or right. That's just my general quick little breakdown thought process of the talents and the builds here. What's cool about this is they've brought back Magister's Terror, so we're in phase 4 of the testing phase. So I just wanted to give a quick run through, see what the dungeon experience is like. I'm going to be looking to do more PvP testing as well in the future, but I think it's also just a good idea to get a holistic idea of how these classes are looking and performing at the moment. So we can use our cooldowns, use kill command, to build up our Tip the Spear stacks. You can see I've got those two up in the top right, and then I can spend those on things like Wildfire Grenade, or I can spend them on things like Raptor Strike. So that kind of core rotation of building stacks, spending stacks, that has basically returned to Survival Hunter, and I think that that was something that was very integral to the class. Is the one thing that made Survival feel like Survival Hunter, at least mechanically, right? If we're not just talking visually, we're not just talking like flavor and class fantasy, that was a very important component. So it feels almost the same in that sense as it did in the previous iteration of Survival. However, it's got significantly less cooldowns in order to keep track of, and that you can kind of talent in or out of, which is nice. So I think it's still a pretty simplistic style of gameplay relative to its previous iteration, without going like overboard, basically, like we had seen in the past. Now I have no idea how to get through this door, so let's see if my followers will be able to figure this out for me. Oh, we're not going through that way. We're making a detour. This is a different type of Magister's Terrace. You can tell it's the first time that I've been in this dungeon on this test phase, but we're just going to be building Tip the Spear stacks, spending them on Raptor Strike, and I also have a talent here if I use my cooldowns that I can call in a bear and really buff up my Hatchet Toss. Right here you can see it's glowing, so it gives you a big blast AoE. You can obviously use the shotgun for some big blasts towards AoE in that regard as well. So likely going to be pretty, decently strong. This is actually cool. You're making a detour in Magister's Terrace and going off to the side. I was fully anticipating to just continue forward with the regular location. Now I'm curious to see what Binding Shot can do for us. So it's not doing the suction that I was kind of expecting it would do, like we'd seen with some other AoE effects. So it looks like Binding Shot is still kind of this stereotypical AoE on the ground where you got to drag mobs out of. Unfortunately, that does require a little bit more coordination than a lot of the other types of stuns in the game, so it might make it a little bit less desirable, to be honest. But the boomstick feels really good in these types of AoE situations. I like the lowered cooldown. That way you can basically get it kind of like pull to pull without really feeling like you're losing out on a lot. Boomstick maybe, though, is not going to feel too impactful in PvP situations. It just depends, honestly, how hard it hits and how hard it gets tuned with PvP knobs and PvP adjustments. I really like this buff build from the pack leader that makes Hatchet Toss kind of glow and give you a little bit of an extra rotational ability, so you're not just kind of going through the paces with the same rotation over and over. But here our follower tank is just going ham, dude. Look at this little detour into the Magister's Terrace. What just happened? They just all teleported away from me. Now I'm greatly concerned. No, our tank is just leading the charge, of course. All right. We got Tip the Spear stacks. We're spending our grenades. We got our boomstick. We get big blasts of AoE. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get the default damage meter to work. I don't know what it takes. The followers can apparently just ignore that guy with his like stealth detection or whatever that is. I have no idea what to expect from the mechanics in this dungeon, but it's definitely a very interesting layout. I like the Apex talents with the Raptor Strike AoE. It makes using Raptor Strike in the rotation if you ran out of wildfire bombs not feel like totally useless in a lot of these kind of AoE situations, which is really nice. Oh, I just get teleported away. Okay, well, we just learned what that does, but it's okay. I can just jump back down, get right back into the mix, and then get stunned, and they get sent right back up again, apparently. Apparently there are traps on the floor that you are not allowed to interact with in this dungeon. I will give you fair warning. You've learned something along with me, that if you go in these circles that your tank apparently can completely ignore. Oh, wait, she's bringing it back. All right, at least, you know what? We can attack from ranged. We are both a mix of ranged and melee damage. Maybe I can grappling hook through it. This is probably not worth the risk, but we're going to do it. Yeah, you definitely can't. Do not try and do that. Okay, my tank is leaving me behind. I'm interested to see what they do with the follower dungeon coding in the future with a situation like this, because can I, like, turtle through it? Nope. It's full immunity to everything. And my fire mage is going straight through the middle of the dungeon also, just blasting AoE onto everything. It's okay. We're just using this to get a feel for the spec, see what it's like. Looks like, okay, well, they've dropped their guard, so it's fine. My group just carried me, so we're just going to continue to the Magister's Terrace like nothing ever happened, okay? Don't shoot the messenger, okay, guys? We're going up here. We're going outside. Oh my god, it's like a side entrance of the area of the old Magister's Terrace that we used to have. Boomstick AoE feels really good. I love the hatchet toss procs. Just something extra to pay attention to on the rotation, so you don't get like too caught up in the monotony of using kill command to build up tip stacks and then spending those on Raptor Strike. But overall, I think that this is going to be likely a very significant improvement for its gameplay, and it's likely its potency, at least when it comes to like PvE, Mythic Plus situations, and even single target situations, because the Apex talents focusing on Raptor Strike are still going to benefit AoE. And Fear of the Eagle was good even in PvP situations, so I imagine Boomstick likely going to be the same. Like, it does a lot of damage, bro. Boom, like, I did like 20% of the monster's health each in kind of an AoE situation. So, Survival Hunter, I'd say this feels like maybe a 6 out of 10 in terms of complexity and difficulty once you get used to just building up. I wish my Tip the Spear stacks were tracked on my personal resource display. A lot of the UI customizations that I used to have on retail just don't work right now. I don't know if that's, you know, my fault, human internet error or not, but it just doesn't work the way that I would have expected. So a little bit unfortunate, but to me this feels exactly the same as the previous iteration of Survival. Now that Tip the Spear is back, I feel like it's in a healthy spot, getting a lot of improvements. I think it's pretty fun to just smack down on Raptor Strike when you get a lot of tip stacks and you're kind of just going ham on the target. And then you're just always looking for the hatchet procs. I kind of wish the hatchet proc had like a visual in the middle of the screen, like Fingers of Frost. A little bit more like visual proc gameplay, basically. But here we go. We're facing up to the first boss. This is where we used to have. What were they in TBC? It was like the 5 of them all at the same time. Now there's a giant arcane golem blocking our path, basically, in order to get through here. A lot of nice, juicy kind of AoE packs that are going to be fun, I think, in a Mythic Plus situation here. We're just going straight for the boss, the follower. So what the follower has decided we are about to do. So we're just going to go straight onto the boss. We should probably put Hunter's Mark on the target also. Give ourselves a little bit of extra damage towards the target. I don't believe that Boomstick would be worth pressing in single target, even if you don't have any Tip the Spear stacks, but could be incorrect about that. Especially given that we don't have details up to be able to like show those analytics. A little circle on the ground for the first boss here. Tank does not care. He wants me to stand in it. What is going on, dude? The follower dungeon is running through the wall. It says, quick, grab one of those orbs. Okay, the followers. Well, we didn't clear all the trash, Mr. Follower. What is going on? Okay, I think that's cool that it tries to teach you the game, basically. You know, using the follower dungeons to try and bring new players into the game, because I think that's the main goal with this, right? Is to get people back into the game that didn't play for a while. But the tank holding the mob on the AoE, not exactly the best. Okay. The tank has realized that they're dying and is deciding to run through the wall. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to work for us here, Captain Garrick. I think you need to bring it back here. All right. Okay, I think we're maybe in an okay spot now, sort of. All right. I don't know if it's impossible for the tank to die or not in follower dungeon mode, but this has been a very interesting encounter regardless. I'm glad that I got to test this as a run through just to experience this because it's such a meme. Oh, my tank can die. Oh no, this is very this went from bad to even worse. Do we have battle res in this group? Why does the boss go through the wall? This is not yeah. Oh god. All right, looks like it's on me now. Refueling protocol. Oh, this is where it's gonna summon balls through the wall. Balls to the wall just took on a whole new meaning right now, dude. Balls to the wall is a whole new meaning. What are we even gonna... Oh my god, the AoE on the ground actually farms. This is follower mode. I'm supposed to be learning how to play. Why is everything so challenging? And we do not have a battle res. It looks like our Resto Druid doesn't want to be res. So, I don't know what's going on. My mage is sitting down and drinking. Hopefully we just don't aggro some random trash. I mean, maybe they're just trying to capture, like, a realistic experience of a, you know, an LFG. Did you encounter any issues with the boss? The follower tank pulled boss through the wall and I couldn't attack. See, look. I'm helping. We're learning new stuff here. But basically, there we go. We got a quick rundown. It's the first dungeon here on the Midnight Alpha. We're running with the followers. I think as far as like the sky is falling for Survival Hunter is absolutely not the case. Now we are losing a lot of utility. At least when it comes to a PvP environment, right? In dungeon environment, I think that they've scaled this up. It's likely going to be actually really good. A good time in Mythic Plus. But in PvP, we're losing a lot of crowd control. So once the PvP max level testing actually goes underway, we'll get to see how that feels. But I really have high faith that this is going to be pretty phenomenal when it comes to Mythic Plus. And I'm considering doing, you know, diversifying the content into multiple avenues here. And I'm trying to pick like what specialization and what I want to bring into Mythic Plus. This might be a top contender, although I am kind of leaning more towards a tank at this moment in time. But I think they've done a good job of retaining the essence of survival, bringing down a little bit of its complexity. And I'm kind of just hoping it's going to work out in a PvP situation because we can't get our hands necessarily on that part of the testing phase. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick little run through. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you want to make sure you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated.